Welcome, welcome, welcome to my live. Today is my birthday. I'm celebrating my birthday. I'm out of town celebrating, but I did want to answer some questions about being a patient advocate. And I want to thank everyone who made donations for my birthday, to my birthday, those that have sent text messages, calls, and also made social media posts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have received some questions. So some of the questions that I have received, I am going to answer, and I might have to do a part two of Q&A. And the first question that I do want to answer is, what is sickle cell? First, let's define what sickle cell is. Sickle cell is an inherited blood disorder. Sickle cell occurs when healthy round blood cells become crescent shaped due to a lack of oxygen in the body. They start off this way, but when they're sickling, they're like a crescent moon. That is the shape of a sickle. The next question that I often get is, what are the different variations of sickle cell? The first variation could be the sickle cell trait, or what some people would call being a carrier of sickle cell. A carrier or the trait, sickle cell SS, which means both parents have sickle cell. SC usually means one parent has sickle cell and maybe the other one have the trait or maybe not. The next one is alpha thalassemia, which means that your alpha proteins aren't producing and doing what they're supposed to do. And then there's that fifth one, which is beta thalassemia, which is the one that I have, because my beta proteins aren't functioning like they should. Every protein and every gene in your body plays an important role in your health as well as in your cells. Another question that I often get on social media or in my DM is, what does it take to be a patient advocate? My story is a little bit different. And the reason that my story is different is because I became a patient advocate because I have sickle cell disease myself. And I could not find any resources for myself and other patients that are my age. So before I became an advocate, the first thing that I did was spend 2 years of just researching, and finding out what sickle cell is, what are the causes, where are the regions that they're dominant in. And one of the big things that I did find out is that thalassemia is dominant in India, in Asia. Thalassemia is common in Asia. And that's one of the things that I always mess with my mom about. It's like, Mama, if you ever wanted to know if my father had Indian in his blood or not, thalassemia is your answer, Mother. That's your answer. And so that has been a good thing for me and my family. And another question that I do want to answer is, when you become a patient advocate, you have to find out what type of advocate that you want to be. And I'm advocating from the perspective of a patient. You can advocate from the perspective of a patient, from the perspective of a caregiver, a medical professional, or someone that just loves someone that have sickle cell. So there are many perspectives, or a researcher, or someone that's in the pharmaceutical industry that wants to find a cure for sickle cell. There are a lot of clinical trials that are out there, and then there are a lot of clinical trials that are in different phases. So right now, I'm currently on the medication Hydrea to treat me for sickle cell and pain crisis. I've heard good stories about Indari. Indari is one of the new medications that a lot of patients that I know are using. And they're coming up with some more medications. There are two. I know one of them you have to receive through an IV, a medication for sickle cell. And I'm not going to go into detail of that yet because I need to do more research. But I am excited about the testimonials that I've heard so far. Some of the patients said they go into less pain crisis. They're not hospitalized as much. So I think that is so important, which is really good, because when you're in a pain crisis, that is like one of the worst feelings in the world. And that pain can be anywhere in your body. It could be in your arms. It could be in your legs. It could be anywhere. It could be in your head. It can be in your hands. I've had chest pain, acute chest syndrome. There are so many things that can occur when a patient is in a pain crisis. And what you want to do is make sure you minimize that so you can be functional and make sure you live a healthy life. And a part of my journey and a part of my story and my advocacy is I want to give people hope. I want to give people hope and to inspire people. A lot of patients, or a lot of people, when they think of sickle cell patients, they think of people that are always in pain, or people that are always hurting, or people that are always going through. And I want them to see a lot of healthy patients and see patients when they're not in pain, not just friends and family and other people. I also want medical professionals to see patients not always in pain. And that's my hope, that's my goal, globally, not just locally, but definitely globally. But my mom always say charity begins at home, so I'm starting with the family members and family, and it started in my own hometown too. I started my advocacy in my own hometown to make sure people understand what patients in my community are going through. And currently, I serve mainly, I'm headquartered out of the Southwest Georgia region. I am a contact for 14 counties in the Southwest Georgia region. Everywhere the Georgia Department of Labor is in the Southwest region, so am I. Everywhere my local hospital is, so am I. And some of these healthcare facilities, I'm there also. I'm excited about next month because they're going back to doing health fairs. And I'm always a vendor there talking to people that know someone with loved one or they have sickle cell themselves. And that is always a great experience for me. I see one of my questions come in. How do you ease the pain? There are multiple ways you can ease the pain. One of the things that I did last weekend is I got a deep tissue massage. That video is coming up soon. A deep tissue Swedish, actually it was a Swedish massage that reduced the pain all, all over my body. Massages help a lot. Whether you get them professionally or whether someone you know or a loved one do a massage on you, it helps a lot. Another thing that helps with pain crisis is taking pain medication. That's like usually my last resort. I try not to take pain medication because it's just one of the things that I try to avoid. And I'm one of the people that don't like to take medicine, but I do take it. But my goal is to get off of all of my medication, and that's my major goal. And I've talked to my whole medical team about that. That I don't want to be on this medicine forever, and I don't want to be on this medicine always. That's the goal, is to get off my medication, and they're working with me on that. And yes, Craig, taking a hot bath does work with Epsom salt. That helps a lot. Taking a bubble bath. I also take bubble baths to get rid of alleviate pain, chronic pain all over the body. Oh wow, Wyatt. I didn't know that. I've heard about it, but I didn't know that. I see you say yes. Bigger population in Illinois or Ohio. Wow. Sickle cell is global. There are over 100,000 patients that are living with sickle cell around the world, and I think on World Health Organization's website, I do have that information. If I'm not mistaken, the last time I studied that information, there were over 300,000 sickle cell patients with sickle cell disease, sickle cell trait, a carrier, or that had thalassemia. There are over 300,000. And I know one of the blogs that I did on Global Partnership for Telehealth, it talked about that. There are a number of people that have the disease or the trait themselves. Definitely, sickle cell is definitely high in Africa. It's also in Asia. It's also in Europe. And that's one of the things that people don't talk about. Sickle cell is just not a black disease. And that's one of my biggest things about my advocacy work. Sickle cell is just not a black disease. It's an inherited blood disorder. And from a lot of research, people that are in the Mediterranean, that are in Turkey, Istanbul, that are in the Caribbean, there are people that in so many other parts of the world that have sickle cell. So it's just not a black disease. I'll go on record because people ask me to say this a lot, or what I say, that is sickle cell dominantly in the African American community or African community. Yes, sickle cell is dominant in that community, but it's not the only community. I also want to talk about one of my sickle sisters who have passed, but she was South American. She was Latino. She was Mexican. So, and you can't say sickle cell to her. Her word is cellular falciform. That's the Spanish way of saying sickle cell. Drepatsinus is the French way of saying sickle cell. There are so many ways to say sickle cell. As a matter of fact, I do have a shirt that is 24 ways to say sickle cell. Definitely, there's another way to say sickle cell in Yoruba, in French, in Italian. There are so many ways to say it. So that's another indication that sickle cell is just not a black disease, or it's just not a local disease. It's a global issue. I'm on the front line fighting that. I'm on the front line of educating the community and the public about it. That is so important for me, to make sure the public and the community stays educated on the things that are going on in the sickle cell community, as well as with the World Health Organization, Global Partnership for Telehealth, as well as Global Blood Therapeutics. There are so many organizations that focus on the needs of sickle cell patients. Cayenne Wellness Center, they're doing an event starting next weekend to continue to educate the public about sickle cell. There are so many organizations, and I love that Howard University Center for Sickle Cell Disease, they're doing the September the 1st through the 30th event. So there are constant events that they're doing, and they're definitely doing marathons, doing workouts and everything. And I'm loving that. I'm definitely loving the educational seminars that a lot of these organizations do. And I post them on my social media, because every time I learn something new, I make sure the world or the public knows the things that I'm learning. It's not something that I keep to myself. Sharing is caring. So I do share what I do. I'm also excited and honored that my birthday is in Sickle Cell Awareness Month. Hashtag Sickle Cell Awareness Month, hashtag September, hashtag SWGA Sickle Cell Awareness, hashtag Showing Worldwide Global Advocacy is one of the hashtags that I also use on my platform. That's what SGA stands for, Showing Worldwide Global Advocacy. And I love that. I love how people from around the world will reach out to me, and they will also DM me. I get a lot of emails and DMs about things that are going on in different sickle cell communities around the world. A lot of events I can't attend because before we couldn't travel. It was like I'm getting double booked. So it's kind of a challenge to attend every workshop, every meeting. But I'm glad that a lot of things that we do now, we can do it virtually. So a lot of the webinars I go to virtually, and sometimes I'm sitting in 2 webinars at one time. I'm sitting on a webinar on my laptop as well as on my phone, which is good. And another thing that with webinars that I love is you can go back and listen to the recordings. As if you're in a live webinar, you can't go back and get the recordings. Whatever is said during that webinar, that's it. And so I do try to voice record a lot of the webinars, or I try to video record a lot of them, because a lot of information that they share is great information. And I want to thank everybody that took the time out to come on my live. I want to say thank you. Thank you for attending my live, and thank you for spending my birthday with me. That's the biggest thing. Thank you for spending my birthday with me. I'm not gonna say my age, which I love my age, because a lot of patients don't get to make it to my age. Today I turned 46 years old. and I'm still doing what I'm doing. I'm still going. I'm still excited. I'm still happy. And I do have a lot of goals I still want to meet, and I'm excited about them. Excited about continuing to meet more people that are in the sickle cell community, doing the things that they're doing. There is a whole team of us. And I like a couple of years ago, I went to a seminar, and I like that we developed the phrase. No, we adopted the phrase, because I think it's an old phrase that was founded. So I'm not for sure who founded the phrase, but it's a phrase that we use now, and the phrase is nothing for us without us. I love that phrase. I live that phrase. Nothing for us without us. You can't do a lot of research on sickle cell, about sickle cell, or for sickle cell without sickle cell patients, because they're the ones that are going to answer your questions. They're the ones that are going to give you a different perspective, and they're going to tell you things in real time. That's the most important part. They're going to tell you things in real time, and that's how we're able to get new medications on the market, is because patients are telling their story. They're saying what works, what don't work. And I know the biggest thing that I don't like about Hydrorrhea is that nausea. So I do take a nausea medicine 30 minutes before I take my Hydrorrhea. I still hate to take it. And then I think because it's a chemotherapy pill, that I don't like it, but I still take it. And that's one of the things I have gotten over. So I go ahead and take my medicine, do what I need to do, because the goal is not to be on it always and forever. I'm so excited that too I'm changing my eating habits. That has worked well for me a lot. I talked to my medical team about that, about changing the things that I'm eating and what can I do to reduce taking the medication that I take. And I'm thankful that things are changing, and that we set a goal of 5 years, but I'm not for sure if that's going to work. Another thing that a lot of people are consuming, I don't consume it. Let me say it that way. I don't take CBD oils, or I don't use medical marijuana. I don't disagree with people using it. If that works for you, then you use it. Whatever works for you, you use whatever works for you. And tell people how it works for you, so they can get a better understanding, especially those patients that are taking it for medicinal reason and not recreational reason. Nothing against people that take it for recreational reasons, but whatever gets and relieves your pain, I recommend that you do it, so you can be out here advocating with the rest of it. I'm so amazed by the amount of patients that are advocating. That always amused me. And when I get on social media, I see a lot of people doing work, and I like the fact that Shamanica Wiggins is going to meet with Melania Trump to talk about the needs of sickle cell patients and sickle cell disease. I love that. There are a lot of people that are on the front lines, that are in the trenches doing the work. I love that. And then there are organizations that are out there doing the work. And I like the fact that they have patients on the board of directors, because we have to be at the table when decisions are made of what's best for us. And I'm so glad that I'm a voice for many. Because they closed our clinic down, I'm still here fighting for the needs of the patients that are in my clinic and in my area. And the goal is to get that clinic back up and running. We don't know the deadline or the time that it's going to be done, but we know that it is a work in progress. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe to my channel for weekly uploads on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I upload different things about sickle cell, not just sickle cell, just healthy habits. I do have a playlist I do as a part of my documentary. And I'm getting ready to end this live because I am at an event, but I did want to go live, and for my supporters, let them know. I want to thank them that asked me, Monica, are you still going live for your birthday? Yes, I am, because I want to celebrate my birthday with people that support me. I was going to do music, then I thought about it. I'm a big Ludacris fan, so I don't want to break any copyright laws, and I don't want them to take my video down, so I decided not play any music in my video. So, but I'm going to conclude this live. We'll talk later. Goodbye.
You okay?
Yes.